Economist Robert Torrens had a very active life. Let's look at just a few sides of it. He was born in Ireland, it's believed around 1780. He entered the military, fought in the Napoleonic Wars, and it's believed he rose to the rank of colonel. He also served in Parliament, and he had extensive experience in the British bureaucracy. His works as an economics writer nearly span the entire first half of the 19th century. I'll be going into more specifics in other videos, but most generally, his main contributions were first, he was probably the most sophisticated classical economist on trade, and he understood a lot of different angles of the arguments for trade which other people didn't. He also formulated an early and quite sophisticated statement of what is now called strategic trade policy. Both in his writings and in his career, he very much promoted colonization and emigration. He believed this would be better for both the settlers and the home country. The settlers would be better off because they had more land, and the home country would find that colonies would increase the demands for their goods and increase and broaden the scope of the market and lead to higher economic growth. He was especially active favoring immigration for the Irish from Ireland, very often to South Australia. In fact, working bureaucratically, Torrens actually helped found South Australia as a colony of the British Empire. In the city of Adelaide, there's actually a river named after Torrens, River Torrens. Torrens' son, by the way, was a very important political figure in the history of South Australia. Starting in the 1840s, Torrens turned a lot of his attention to writing on currency and banking. He had a complex position which synthesized a number of different views, sometimes called bullionist and anti-bullionist, but overall he was a big influence behind the Bank of England Charter Act of 1844, which was a kind of cornerstone of banking legislation for its time. It also involved how the Bank of England would regulate the currency. For more on Torrens, of course there's Google, but there are also a number of excellent books. One is by Mark Blaug. It reprints some of Torrens' most important writings. Lionel Robbins' book sets Torrens in historical context. Torrens' collected works can be found in 8 volumes. See also our video on Edward Gibbon Wakefield, who was more or less a contemporary of Torrens and had somewhat different views on colonization. Overall, what I find striking in Torrens is just how much his theoretical work arose out of practical problems of the day, and how much it was presented deliberately to statesmen, often in the form of letters, pleading with them to take particular courses of action. And we can see from Torrens' career that these were the early days of sophisticated economic reasoning. It wasn't a case of going to the shelf and pulling something off, but people actually involved in the practice and policy work on these issues very often had to come up with these ideas themselves and then promote them and inject them into the policy debate. In short, Torrens was someone who very much synthesized both ideas and action.